everybody, and welcome to the TRWC Tailgate Party. I am your host, Majestic Marie. It is a Saturday evening, and this is odd, isn't it? I am never here on Saturday evening, but here I am. I was not able to do a tailgate party on Wednesday because somebody had a birthday that day, me, and I wanted to spend it with family and with friends, so I took the day off that day. So here I am, and we are going to preview all of the shows, tonight's shows and tomorrow's show as well. So I hope that you guys can stay and hang out with me. And really quick, let me get some business out of the way. Make sure that you go over to the Real Wrestling Community on Facebook. Give those guys a like. They do a really good job of keeping people up to date with the pro wrestling. They have a lot of funny memes and things like that, and just fun fan viewer interactive things going on over there in the pro wrestling business. They are very sweet enough to let me stream to their channel every week. So all that kind of stuff. And who do we have here? My friend Christina's here, and she says, "Hey kiddo, you should be watching your Bulldogs. Great game." Yeah, I was in and out listening to it a little bit. Skin of your teeth type thing. It was very close, but the Bulldogs did end up pulling out and winning the game against Auburn. So happy about that. Happy about that. In fact, that's why I'm so late. I was supposed to start about an hour ago, but the game was still on, and I didn't want to ruin the other people in the house's fun. So that's why I'm here at 7 instead of 6. But it was a good game. I enjoyed it very much. Enjoyed it very much. Okay, another little piece of business. I am going to post it in the comments section. But Alora on our page, Peaches and Power Bombs, just did a great interview with a guy named Salvador, and for our Overcoming the Odds series that we do every September. And that interview is now up. Let me post the link to that in the comments section, so you all can find that pretty easily. And it was a great interview. I unfortunately was unable to attend it because I was sick that day. But I got to listen back and felt like I sort of got to know Salvador just from listening to the interview. Seems like a really great guy, and it was a fun interview and really funny guy too. So make sure you guys check that out. It was really great. So, all right, that is the business done now. So let's go ahead and get into the shows for this evening. I'm going to be honest. I will go over the NXT card, but I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't watch NXT, so I have no idea what's going on with any of these stories, and some of these people, I don't really know who they are. But we're going to go over the card just to kind of get those of you who watch NXT really hyped up for the show tonight. I actually might catch it later on, not this evening, but another time. I kind of want to get re-familiar with NXT. When it turned to NXT 2.0, like a year and a half ago, or whenever it was, I tried to watch one episode of it to give it a chance, and there was a girl in a onesie going to sleep in the middle of the ring and doing some kind of weird jump move off the top rope. And I was like, okay, this is not for me. So I have not watched NXT since then. So forgive me for not knowing much about what's going on over there. The NXT championship is on the line. Carmelo Hayes is the champion, and he is going against Dragunov. I'll just call him Dragunov if you don't mind. And the NXT North American Championship is on the line. I do know about this a little bit just because of who is in it. Dominic Mysterio versus Trick Williams. The NXT Heritage Cup is on the line, and that's Noam Dar versus Butch. And the women's championship is on the line with Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton, and that will be an Extreme Rules match. The tag team championships is on the line, and that's Tony D'Angelo and Stax versus Bronco Lima and Lucian Price versus the Creed brothers versus Angel Garza and Humberto, and Baron Corbin versus Braun Breaker as well. So that is the NXT card. Like I said, I don't really know much about NXT, but I thought I would just go over the card for anybody who is interested in perhaps watching tonight. Like I said, I'm thinking about getting more reacquainted with NXT. They kind of broke my heart a year and a half ago, and I'm thinking about giving them another chance. Hopefully they won't break my heart again. Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully it won't be too bad. But yeah, so that is the NXT card. But we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about AEW Collision tonight. And there are 4 things that I could find that were announced for this evening. They didn't have a full graphic. I couldn't find the full graphic like they normally have on their social media platforms. It was just individual posts for Collision for tonight. So if there is more on the show, if you want to post about it in the comments and let me know about it, that would be great. But for what I could see, there is an 8-man tag team match, and that is Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, and FTR versus Ricky Starks, Big Bill, and Aussie Open. Just going ahead and combining those things, and combining all of those things into one match, I guess, for time's sake. It's really weird because Wheeler Yuta and Bryan Danielson are technically heels, and FTR are baby faces. So that's a weird pairing to me. I don't know. Maybe they're doing like the Blackpool Combat Club aren't necessarily heels. They just beat people up. I don't know what the deal is there. Little confused by that pairing, but it is what it is. I guess it'll be fun. It'll be really good. So looking forward to that match. Another odd pairing is Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho versus the Gates of Agony. Because I'm sure the Don Callis family will interfere in this. I guess that's what this is for. But why Omega and Jericho would just randomly tag team versus another random tag team, I don't know. I mean, I kind of understand their match that they're tagging on tomorrow, and they're together on that. But why they would want to come together and wrestle a random tag team, it doesn't really make much sense. But, to get their big stars on the show, to hype up their match for tomorrow night, this is the way they choose to do it. It doesn't always have to make sense to me. And who am I, right? Just somebody sitting here on a podcast that's, it's just here. But that's, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Okay, it'll be fun. And I'm sure Sammy Guevara or Takeshita or somebody will make their little faces known. Next up, and this is probably the match I'm looking forward to the most on the show, Andrade El Idolo versus Juice Robinson. I think Andrade faced Jay White last week, and that was a really good match, and I enjoyed it. And Andrade, unfortunately, we haven't seen him enough on AEW. He hasn't really made a giant splash on in this company yet, and I would really like to see that change sooner rather than later. Yeah, I want to see him in some big storylines, and I want to see him do more things. Like it seems like since Collision started, he always has like a story going with someone about something, but it just stays on Collision. It never he never his big matches are always on Collision. He never has his payoff matches on the pay-per-view, which I find really odd. Why is Andrade not on your pay-per-views? He's just on your TV. And like, I understand that they need big names on their TV channels and stuff like that, but I would like to see him have a big match on the pay-per-views as well. Okay, I have some comments. Besides those, do they need to fill airtime? Probably. And my friend Harry is here. And go check out the Straight Up Wrestling show. And I'm sure that they are going to be live during No Mercy and Collision. So if you want to join a great watch along, go follow the Straight Up Wrestling show. He says, that blew my mind seeing that Jericho and Omega is in a team together. How you doing, Majestic Marie? I am doing great, and I'm happy to be here. Yes, Jericho and Omega in a team together. I understand it. Sorry, the dog is barking outside. Yes, I understand why tomorrow, but why tonight against somebody that they don't even have common beef with, right? Why are they just deciding to be in a tag team against some rando team over here on the side? That didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense whatsoever.
That don't make no sense.
But it is what it is, right? All right, I have one more. And Christine, thank you so much. But you have an awesome podcast. I appreciate it. I try my little best. I know I'm not perfect, but I try my little best. The next thing that they announced for this match is that Julia Hart will be in action. I'm sure it's against a enhancement talent of some sort. If they didn't announce the name, just that she's in action. It'll probably be a quick 3-4 minute match, whatever, just to get her on the show, just to make her look strong before she loses tomorrow night. Let's be honest. And they want to make her look like a contender. And I'm going to be honest, I have really liked Julia Hart in the past couple weeks. They've done some really great stuff with her. I like that they have they've had Brody Lee come out with her and be on the mic and hype her up and make her look strong, like she's important. Like usually it's the other way around. Like she's the manager and she's in their corner, right? But now it's like they're all supporting each other and they're in her corner too and making her feel like a big deal in the women's division. And I really like the thought of her going after Chris Statlander. I think it's a little soon. I would have waited to have this match, but you know how AEW is. They get this bright idea. Oh, let's do this. But they don't have any patience, right? They don't let anything build and they don't let anything like add up to it, especially in the women's division. They're really bad about this. They don't let anything build up to the match. They're just like, ooh, this would be a cool match. And then they do it. And then it's like, well, it doesn't really mean anything because you didn't let it build. You didn't let it brew. You didn't bring it up to be as big as it could be. You just rushed right to the match. And I'm not downing like matches, right? And people who are into matches. If you are into matches, that's great. I'm glad that you like matches, but I like it to be together. I like really great matches with really great storylines. And you have to make me care about what's going on in the ring. Just doing great moves in the ring isn't going to be enough for me. So you have to make me invested in your character. You have to make me invested in what's going on. You have to get me invested in the story. You have to make me be on the edge of my seat. Oh, what's going to happen next? So I like Julia Hart. I like her character. I like Chris Statlander as the TBS championship. She looks really strong. She looks really good. But I would have waited to do this, build up Julia Hart just a little bit more before she went after Chris Statlander and the TBS championship. But that is me. And I'm not in the wrestling business, and I'm not much of anybody. So why should they listen to me? But that's just what I would do. But it'll be good. It'll be fine, I'm sure. All right. Hello. Well, no, it doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. All right, so that is Collision for tonight. I just wanted to kind of go through that a little bit quicker than the rest of it. And now we're going to talk about AEW Wrestle Dream, and I will go through these matches one-on-one just to talk about them. Some of this stuff looks very just thrown together, honestly. Most of this pay-per-view looks thrown together. But AEW usually does a really good job of, you don't always get excited about the pay-per-view, but when you actually watch it, you're enjoying it and having a good time, and they usually over-deliver. So I'm hoping that that's what they do. I remember not this past Forbidden Door, but the very first one, last year's Forbidden Door. I was not excited about that pay-per-view at all. I didn't know who half of the talent were that was going to be on the card. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to watch this because I'm addicted to wrestling and I can't help myself. And I have a podcast and we have to talk about it. But I'm just not thrilled and I'm just not invested and I'm not excited. But then I watched it and it actually ended up being really good. And I enjoyed it a whole lot and was happy that I bought it and was happy that I watched it. So hopefully that AEW Wrestle Dream will do the same thing. So, without further ado, here we go. We're going to get into this show, and I'll talk about each match. AEW trios are going to be on the line, and that is the Acclaimed with Billy Gunn versus TMDK, and I do not know what TMDK stands for, but that has a bunch of Ring of Honor names that I'm not really familiar with, so forgive me on that. That has Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, and Badu Tito. And this seems random. I don't know what this is all about. I haven't even seen TMDK before, I don't think. They're probably on the Ring of Honor. They're probably on the Ring of Honor show, and I just don't know too much about them. I don't see the Acclaim losing at all. So I don't know much about this. So guys, if you want to tell me more about TMDK, go right ahead. If you're excited about this match, go right ahead. I'm always excited to see the Acclaimed. I think they're fun. So to get them on the show is always a good thing in my opinion. But I don't know much about their opponents, so I can't really say that I'm excited about it.
The Acclaimed have arrived!
I do like the Acclaimed. Okay, moving on. We have a 4-way tag team match. And I didn't see if there was a stipulation on this, or if I didn't see if the winner of this match gets anything. So I don't know if this is just a random match or if they're actually going to get something out of it. But the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers versus the Guns versus Orange Cassidy and Hook. I don't know. Do they get anything out of this? If whoever wins, will they get a future title shot against like FTR or something. I didn't see that, so I don't know. And as far as winning it goes, really any of these teams could win. We have 3 babyface teams versus 1 heel team, which is another thing that's weird. You would think that it would be 2 and 2, like 2 heel teams and 2 babyface teams, but it's 3 babyface teams and 1 heel team. And that's the Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers, Orange Cassidy, and Hook versus the Guns over here. So I don't really know how they're going to work that. It's weird. The Guns are kind of outnumbered in this match, so that's odd too. I don't really know how this would go. I'm probably just going to pull a name out of the hat. I would probably see the Young Bucks winning. I don't know, but it could be Orange Cassidy and Hook as well. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so Harry said the winners get a future world title shot. Okay, so I got my information off of Bleacher Report, which you would think would be a reliable source because they are the ones who will actually be streaming this event. So you would have thought that they would have added that information to their article, and they did not. So that's interesting. With that information, I would probably say Orange Cassidy and Hook would win if this is for a future championship match, because you don't want the Young Bucks to go after FTR so quickly after losing to them twice already. So, no, I would say probably Orange Cassidy and Hook for that. And Harry said the same thing, Hook and Cassidy. And Christine likes Hook and Cassidy as well. Looks like that is the favorite over here on the tailgate party is Orange Cassidy and Hook. So that'll be interesting. Okay, let's talk about my favorite person in wrestling altogether. And this will be for the New Japan Openweight Championship and the Ring of Honor World Championship. I don't know, Harry, if you could tell me Shibata's Pure Championship is not on the line here either, is it? I think I just saw that it's for Eddie's titles and not Shibata's. But this is Eddie Kingston versus Shibata. I don't know why they're fighting. I don't know why they're fighting. They were friends just a month ago. If Eddie's just trying to prove himself, if this is just a let's make Eddie Kingston look strong as our new Ring of Honor World Championship, then that's fine. But it's weird because Shibata has been an ally of Eddie Kingston in Ring of Honor since May. So it's just weird. Maybe he's just going on a I need to beat you type thing. You know, Eddie does that sometimes, like, oh, I respect you, but I gotta beat you type thing. I don't know. But Eddie Kingston having a match on the pay-per-view is never a bad thing. It's always a good thing.
I'm being a good boy. You know?
Yeah. So, always happy to see Eddie on the show. Always happy to be on the show. Christine says, who might that be? Right. No one knows who my favorite wrestler is. You know, I keep that a secret. Nope. Okay, next up, my favorite tag team in the whole wide world. We have them for the AEW Tag Team Championships, FTR versus Aussie Open. They are also on the show for tonight in Collision. This is a rubber match from their match that they had in New Japan for the New Japan Tag Team titles. And I didn't get to see that one, so I'm really excited to see this one. And this will be a lot of fun. They've done a good job of building up this match and getting people excited to see it. FTR is just on fire right now. they're doing really great things with those AEW Tag Team Championships. They had a fantastic match last week on Collision with the Workhorsemen. I know I'm a little bit biased when I say this, but it was a great match to me, and is personal because I knew two of those people in the ring. Anthony Henry is a friend of mine, and I used to know Cash Wheeler a little bit too, and I used to watch both of those guys wrestle back in 2011 and 2012 at NWA Anarchy and in NWA alternative pro wrestling as well. So that was a whole lot of fun to get to see two guys that you know, that you've gotten to know, that you used to watch on a regular basis in person on the independents, on the big show, having a great tag team match. So that was a lot of fun. FTR is probably going to win this match. I don't see them losing the belts anytime soon. They have to do a little bit better of building up another team in order to take it off of FTR. All right, drink break. Because it is just me today. Okay. Straight up wrestling show. Harry says, just Eddie belts. Yes, Eddie doesn't have friends in the business. Eddie just likes to beat people up. I love it. Yes. Yes. Yeah, they're not friends. They were just allies, right? They had a common goal, and that was to beat up Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. So as soon as all the Claudio stuff is done, he just turns to Shibata and
Fight
goes,
me! Fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Don't fight me!
That is the best clip ever. Christine says, I sure hope Eddie wins. He worked too hard to get those belts. Yeah. There is no mistaking that Eddie Kingston is going to win tomorrow. New Japan is doing just it is loving Eddie Kingston, having him on their show, and Eddie just has so much pride in being a New Japan champion, and he has a lot of pride in being the Ring of Honor World Champion as well. And I don't think he's going to lose those titles anytime soon. We'll see. And I really hope to see Eddie on Ring of Honor programming pretty soon, too. They should be having a pay-per-view in December, if I'm not mistaken. That's usually when they have a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So they had one in July. So that should be coming up pretty soon. So hopefully Eddie will be on the Ring of Honor programming pretty soon. I do like the Ring of Honor shows. It's mostly just for people who just like matches, and I think that's the perfect place for that. It's not on TV, so you're not trying to like get the casual viewer or anything. So that is the perfect place for a match-based show, and I really like that too. So it's different. It's a different flavor from what you normally see on TV. Oh, Christine. Too bad Punk was fired. I like to see a match with him with Punk and Eddie. They did have a match at Full Gear in 2021, right when CM Punk came into AEW, and it only had a 2-week build, but it was one of it's the match that really catapulted Eddie Kingston into popularity on that show. Well, his match with Miro a couple months before that really helped too. There was this moment between Eddie and Miro where he said a really funny line to Miro. I'm not going to repeat it here because this is PG, but it was really funny. And he had a shirt that had that saying on it, and people really liked Eddie Kingston from that. And then that promo that clip is taken from, the Fight Me clip, was probably one of the best promo segments in AEW history, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that because I love Eddie Kingston, but it was so great. And it was only a 2-week build, which is even more fantastic that those two guys made you so invested into that match, into that storyline in just 2 stinking weeks. You know, that tells you the amount of talent that those two guys have. And that is one of my favorite matches. It's one of my favorite Eddie matches. It's one of my favorite CM Punk matches. It's not my absolute favorite of those two. My favorite CM Punk match to this day will always be the one that I got to see live, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho at a Raw in Atlanta. It was a match that was not supposed to happen. It was back when they did. It was back when they used to have the WWE app, and they would say, "Hey, you get to vote in a poll on who you want to see CM Punk face," and the three choices were Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton, and Chris Jericho. Well, yeah, the people in the back, Vince McMahon and all of them, they all thought that it was going to be Randy Orton. And so Randy Orton and Chris Jericho put together a match thinking that it was going to be Randy who won the poll. Well, they didn't win the poll. It was Jericho who won the poll, and they had to roll with it. And Jericho went out there, and they called the entire thing in the ring. It was a spur of the moment match that just totally happened in the ring. No preparation whatsoever for this thing. And it was the best thing I've ever seen in person. And I loved it. That's my favorite CM Punk match. And as far as my favorite Eddie Kingston match my favorite Eddie Kingston match was this past February at a New Japan show, and it was Eddie Kingston versus Jay White, and that's my favorite AEW. Christine says, "Oh wow, wish I knew about AEW back then. I'm pretty new to AEW." Well, welcome to AEW. It's a pretty good show. I love it. Harry says, "They wasn't a street fight. It wasn't a wrestling match. Eddie didn't care for Punk's antics back in the day in Ring of Honor." Oh, they wrestled in Ring of Honor too? I had no idea. That's pretty great. I need to go back and see that. I didn't know they wrestled in Ring of Honor because, back then Ring of Honor was a DVD company, so who knew? That's great. Shane is here. And he says, "Better late than never, laying here suffering with gout." Oh, bud, I'm so sorry. That's tough. Gout is horrible. My brother-in-law has it, and he has a really tough time. Be careful of lay off the red meat for a little bit, Shane. Eddie Kingston will win. It's too soon for him to lose. I agree. And Shane, because you're laying here feeling so horrible, I will play the clip just for you.
Are you a sissy?
And that was very fitting because Terry Funk is also Eddie Kingston's favorite wrestler as well. So, thought I would put that out there. Okay, moving on. We have the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships on the line. And Adam Cole is unable to wrestle because he broke his ankle in 3 different places and needs surgery. So he was out. So MJF is going to be defending the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships by himself in a handicap match versus the Righteous. I'm guessing the Righteous is a team on Ring of Honor that I just don't know much about. They have been showing those vignettes, which is good. I'm glad that they've done that, getting people a little bit familiar with them. They're a little bit weird. They have an odd character, I guess, but that's okay. You know, oddity works in professional wrestling. The odder you are, the better you'll do, it seems. And I'm sure it'll be fun. MJF will probably hit his little kangaroo kick. I don't see him losing. I don't know what'll happen with this. Maybe those mysterious people in the devil masks that attacked Jay White last week at the end of the show might come out and help MJF. I don't know. Everybody is making you want to believe that it's Adam Cole, that MJF ordered some people to attack Jay White. And it'll be interesting to see what happens if those mysterious people will come out and help MJF, especially since this is a handicap match. Something's going to happen to have MJF retain those titles by himself. So yeah, it's crazy, Christine. It's very crazy. She also says, I'm starting to get to know the characters and seeing all the WWE guys is pretty cool. I'm liking it. That was great. Well, I'm glad that you are enjoying AEW. It is very different from WWE, but it's not always a bad different. There are some things about both companies that I really like and I really dislike, and that's going to be with anything. So you're not going to love everything perfectly. But overall, AEW is a really good show. I'm gonna be honest. I tend to enjoy AEW a little bit more than WWE, but that's just my personal preference. Okay, moving on. We have Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland, and I'm sure Prince Nana will be doing his little dance in the background, and it'll be all great. Honestly, I think they booked themselves into a corner here. Neither one of these guys needs to lose. If they want to build up Hangman Page back up as a single star where he previously was a couple years ago when he faced Kenny Omega for the world title, then he doesn't need to lose. But you also have Swerve Strickland, who's doing really good heel work as well. They don't have really strong heels on this show, but Swerve Strickland is one of those exceptions. And he shouldn't lose either because he's been losing like a madman lately. He lost that casket match to Darby Allin and everything. And he needs a good comeback. He needs to look like a really strong, dominant heel that could possibly take a title off of somebody in the near future. So he doesn't need to lose either. So I don't know what they would do here. They'll, more than likely, this is AEW, they'll probably have Hangman Adam Page win. And that's fine because he needs it, but Swerve also needs it. So I don't know what they would do here. Maybe it's a no contest type thing, or maybe Hangman Page still wins in a weird way that Swerve doesn't look too bad. I don't know. Harry says, I wish MJF wasn't doing the match. The Righteous can be pretty vicious. That big guy has the intensity of Bam Bam Bigelow. Interesting. I think it's a way for them to keep the titles on them because they can coast, right? They can keep the titles on them and coast with it a little bit, right? And yeah, I don't know what they'll do. And also, this is the second pay-per-view that the AEW World Championship is not going to be defended on. So there's another thing. Now it has been defended recently. He just defended it on Grand Slam, and that's where Adam Cole broke his foot. But it hasn't been defended on a pay-per-view since All In, I believe. So This is the second one in a row. So that's interesting too. You don't have your world title being defended on 2 pay-per-views so far. It's a little weird. But the champion is on the show. He's just defending his other titles. And more than likely, those mysterious people will interfere in some way. Harry also says that Swerve definitely needs the win here. I like Page too, though. Yeah, both guys need the win. Hangman Page has just looked like a fish out of water since he lost the world title. He's looked oddly out of place. So he needs to get back on track. And Swerve has been, like I said, doing really great work. So he needs the win as well. Shane says that Swerve versus Page will steal the show. It sets up for a long feud. I hope so. Maybe Swerve will win this, but it'll keep it going. And maybe Hangman Page can get his win off the rubber. We'll see. Okay, next up is another match that I wouldn't have done right away. We talked about it when we were talking about Collision a little bit, and it's the TBS Championship with your champion Chris Statlander facing Julia Hart. And I really like both of these women. I'm glad that they are on the show. Oh my goodness, I forgot that other match. Anyway, we have Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart for the TBS Championship. I would have, like I said, built this up a little bit more before going straight to the match. I think that's one of the things that the women's division is lacking, especially with the TBS Championship. They did this with Jade Cargill too. They just had somebody would like go, "Oh, I need to face you for the title that you have," and she would go, "Oh, okay," and they would just have the match, and that would be it. They didn't really have any real storylines. It'd just be like, "Oh yeah, random girl, you go face her for that title because it's a pay-per-view and we have to do that." And it would be like, "Okay," and that's it. That's it. I like the idea of this match. I like the idea because Julia Hart is doing some really great character work in the House of Black right now. And Chris Statlander looks like a really strong white meat babyface champion that everybody likes to see. She's the, she does the anywhere, anytime type stuff, right? I will put my title up against anybody, anywhere, at any time. And it's all good. But Julia Hart is supposed to be conniving and manipulative. So I would have had her. I mean, they have the House of Black doing this. So why wouldn't you have Julia Hart do this to her opponents as well as to the men's? Have her play with Chris Statlander a little bit. Try to get inside her head. Show up when she's not. Show up unexpectedly. Do her little maniacal, dark magic type stuff on Chris Statlander for a little while, and then you have the match. You don't just have Julia Hart and Brody King show up on a random Collision and go, "Hey, we're going after the TBS Championship. Oh, that's you. Okay, we'll have this match in next week. Okay, let's do that." The end. That's all they're doing. And I think that both of these women deserve more than that. Julia Hart, like I said, is doing some really great stuff. So why wouldn't you use that against her opponents as well as the men's? That's all I'm asking. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Am I just rambling on about crazy stuff? Who knows? All right. Shane says, Julia Hart, it's her time. I don't see them taking this title off of Chris Statlander right now. But I wouldn't be hurt if Julia Hart did it. That wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Next up, we talked a little bit about this too. It's going to be Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi versus the Don Callis family which consists of Takeshita, Sammy Guevara, and Osprey. All right, guys. I don't think we've talked about this yet on here. What did you guys think of Sammy Guevara turning on Chris Jericho and joining the Don Callis family? I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. I was kind of hoping that we could eventually see what Sammy Guevara can do on his own when he's not part of a group and if he's not in somebody's shadow. But unfortunately, we're not seeing that because even though he turned on Chris Jericho and he joined Don Callis instead of Jericho, which makes things interesting. And I'm trying not to dog on that because it does make a pretty good story. But it's going to be like, okay, you complained about being in Jericho's shadow this whole time. But now the same thing's going to happen is you're going to be in Don Callis's, you're going to be Don Callis's lapdog, basically. You're going to be doing someone else's bidding again. You're not doing your own thing still. You're not creating your own spotlight still. So it's odd that you're getting mad at Chris Jericho when you're doing the same thing that happened with Jericho again with Don Callis. It's odd, and I don't mean to dog it because I think Sammy Guevara works better as a heel than he does a baby face. Because he just has one of those faces, that you wanted to punch in high school. I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure he's a sweet person in real life and everything. Him and Ty seems like they're happy, and congratulations to them, by the way, on their upcoming birth of their daughter. So hopefully all of that goes well. But I don't know how I feel about it yet, but it does keep things interesting. It makes more sense of him joining Don Callis than it did Chris Jericho. So I'll give them that. I guess it's just one of those things we just have to wait and see how everything progresses. But I just thought it was odd. I didn't quite understand or get it at the time, but I think it'll be good. And it'll eventually lead up to the one-on-one match that we've all been waiting for. They've had one and Chris Jericho won, right? But they need to have one in this state where Sammy Guevara is a heel, Jericho the baby face, and with Don Callis in his corner and Sammy Guevara getting that win on Chris Jericho finally. And moving on to the next thing, seeing how that goes. Alma is here and she says, "What's up, Majestic Marie? How are you doing?" "I'm doing okay. Stomach troubles again." "Oh, I'm so sorry. Counting the days till my birthday, October 27th. Well, happy early birthday. And I'm sorry about your stomach. Eat some soda crackers and drink some lemon lime, and hopefully that'll make things better. Okay, I didn't write this down, but Saraya will be defending her title against Hikaru Shida. I'm pretty sure it is to get Hikaru Shida on the card because this is supposed to be in honor of Inoki from New Japan. So Saraya will probably win. I don't see them taking the title off of her yet. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have much thoughts on that because I just remembered that I forgot to write it down, so I didn't have really much time to think about it. But they threw that match together randomly, so they didn't really give us much to think about, do they? At least I will say that they have given more build to Julia versus Chris Statlander than they did Saraya versus Shida. So I'll give them that. All right. 2 other matches I have on here. If there's any more, I'm sorry. I forgot them. This card is a mile long. Sorry about that. This match I'm looking forward to. Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. because Bryan Danielson wants to have this match. And as far as this is concerned, sorry. I'm losing my voice from all the talking. As far as this match is concerned, it doesn't really need a build. This is just strictly the show is called Wrestle Dream, right? So this is a dream of wrestling fans of seeing Bryan Danielson go up against Zack Sabre Jr. This was supposed to happen a little over a year ago at Forbidden Door, but it did not because Danielson was hurt. And it ended up being Claudio instead, and that was a great match. But I've been looking forward to this match ever since then. Bryan Danielson is obviously one of the all-time greats. He's going to go down in history as one of the greatest wrestlers, in-ring technical wrestlers. And Zack Sabre Jr. is just amazing. If you guys have not seen Zack Sabre Jr. in person wrestling, I hope one day that you get that chance too. And if you do get the opportunity, please take it because it's not like anything you've seen before. Well, maybe it is, but it's amazing. He's great. A couple years ago, back in 2000 and I'm going to say 2016, 17 maybe. No, 2015. I'm so sorry. And he was wrestling at a local show close by. And it was him versus Martin Stone, who is also known as Oney Larkin on NXT. And it was really great. It was one of the most amazing matches that I've seen in person. And it was kind of funny because at this venue, they didn't have a barricade. So they let the fans stand right up next to the ring because there was no barricade around it. So I'm like, okay, I want to see this match this close up. And I did. But the whole time I was scared to death for my safety that someone was going to land on me. And I'm small in stature anyway, so it was really scary, but really thrilling and really exciting all at the same time. And Zack Sabre Jr. is a great talent, and I love watching him wrestle. And he's funny too. If you watch him on his Twitter account or X, whatever you want to call it, he's really great on there too. I like his promos. It's very British. It's probably the most British. It's probably the most British promo out there right now. It's really great. Because Danielson is probably, I think he's on a farewell tour. I don't know if he would lose this, but probably Danielson will win this, but it'll be interesting to see. All right. Last but not least, this is going to be the main event. They've already announced this. The TNT Championship is going to be our main event, and it's a 2 out of 3 falls match with Christian Cage versus Darby Allin. And there's a lot of speculation going out, so I'm going to ask you guys here. There's a lot of rumors. Because Edge's contract with WWE is done. He's not there anymore. So everybody is expecting that he's going to show up in AEW. And then they say that this is going to be the main event. So, of course, because Christian used to be Edge's tag team partner, they're best friends, all that kind of thing, they think that this is where he's going to make his debut on AEW. So they're really playing into they're playing into the rumors, right? I don't I don't know what's going to happen here. It can. It's a wait and see type thing. Either way, I believe that Darby Allin is going to be the new TNT champion. They are, after all, going to be in Seattle, which is Darby's hometown. Tony Khan does not like his talent to look bad in their hometown. So I can see Darby becoming the champion here. Now, as far as how, I don't know. Either it's an Edge thing, or Luchasaurus gets tired of Christian Cage's shenanigans and saying things like, "It's my championship. You weren't the champion," and things like that. You know, his little shenanigans. But either way, I see Darby Allin winning this match, or it could be both. They could kind of swerve us, no pun intended, with Luchasaurus turning on Christian, right? And costing him the match. Darby Allin wins. And then after the match, Edge shows up. You know, them kind of thinking, oh, you know, Luchasaurus was the one who interfered, so therefore Edge is not coming on, but he waits to come out until the very end when Christian is sitting in the ring feeling sorry for himself and complaining and pouting and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see if he shows up. Christine says, I am so sick of Christian Cage. He's Father of the Year, that's for sure. I hope Darby wins. He deserves it so bad. Harry says, Edge is going to show up, distract Christian. Lizard Man is going to turn his back on him. Darby gets the win. Alma is asking, could you see Edge join the House of Black with Christian Cage? No, I do not. And great show, Marie, and thanks for the shout out. You are very welcome. Again, guys, go check out Straight Up Wrestling Show. I'm sure he's about to go do his watch along for No Mercy and Collision. So go check those guys out. All right, guys, that is the show. It's going to be a good one. I'm sure all three of these shows, NXT, Collision, and Wrestle Dream, will all be interesting. And if you like wrestling, go check those out. And I will see you guys next time. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight. And I will be... Alora and I will be on Peaches and Power Bombs on Tuesday, and then I will be back here on the TRWC tailgate party on Wednesday for Dynamite. So you guys have a good evening. Enjoy NXT, enjoy Collision, enjoy Wrestle Dream tomorrow if you're buying that, and I will see you guys next time.